Hello, this is the Intro to App Creators 1.1 assignment. This school year, 21-22. I'm making this video for anyone who missed class. First of all, I'm gonna really quick fix the screen on this assignment because this does not belong in there. Alrighty, so fix that. Now, this is going to be one of our first assignments with App Inventor. First thing you want to do is log into PLTW. So go ahead and use this link to get to the home page. Once you get to log in, you should get to this page. Students this year at Summit Middle School are using the Login with Clever. You're going to have to hit Login with Clever again. And then if you don't have Southwest Allen County School District, you might, let's pretend I don't have that. You might need to type in SUMM to find Summit Middle School here in Southwest Allen County. Then you'll go, so you might have to skip that step that we just did. You might have already done that. Then you can log in with Canvas. Then you can authorize. Nice. Let's see if we can fix that. There we go. All I did was refresh. So if you happen to get that 500-something error, just refresh your screen. That was kind of funny that you guys got to see that error, but it might happen to you. So once you get in and you see welcome back your name, you're going to go to courses. And we're going to go to App Creators Student. This is your Project Lead the Way book for App Creators, the course you're going to take in 7th and 8th grade here at Summit. Over here, this darker stripe, that is your table of contents. If you ever want what's on this area, the book, what you see and read, to be bigger, you can close that down, or you can open that up. So the home page gives you a big overview of things. There's a getting started, distance learning, or skills for success. We're not going to look at that today. We're going to get right into, you're going to scroll down here in the table of contents, and we're going to go all the way down to lesson 1. You can see these little triangles. That means there's more in there. So I opened lesson 1, and you can see that Lesson 1 has Activity 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and so on and so forth. We're going to start in 1.1, the App Revolution. We talked a little bit about this during class today. This video is for those of you who missed class today. Either you were in NWEA testing, maybe you were homesick, maybe you were home quarantined. I'm just making this video to try to help you guys stay caught up. So this section of the book talks about how integrated technology and mobile applications are in our world. You can go ahead and read these paragraphs, and then you can go ahead and watch this video. Then what you're going to do is you are going to, let's see, we skipped this part, Explore App Inventor. So we explored it after we put stuff into App Inventor. So we're going to go ahead on step 1, go ahead and click appinventor.mit.edu. And it should bring you to this page. You should have a Create Apps. And it might make you sign in, and you might have to read something and authorize if you have never been to this site before. You can see that I have a lot of different apps that I've made or that other students have made. So right now, that first part of the book said to do projects, start new project. And it just wanted you to kind of see the inside of App Creators. So I'll go ahead and do that. Let's do that. And you're going to do, I'm going to close this one so I can get back here. Projects, start new project. And you can just do my first app. And you're not going to have to turn this in, so it's all right if you misspell something or there. But you can see I've already made my first app. It won't let you have the same. So I'm going to say my first app. And since today is 8/31, I'm going to put it 831 because I know I don't have an 831. Okay. And it'll open up. If you get this, I like to get this, keep this showing because I get to find out new things about App Inventor that I need to know as a teacher. If you don't want this to pop up all the time, you can say do not show again. All right, so this is an empty app that you just created. And I'm going to tell you about the palette. The palette over here is kind of like if you think about a painter's palette. You know how a painter's palette has all the different colors of paint that a painter is going to use for that painting. Well, this palette has all the different things that you could put into an app. You don't have to use them all, but they're all here. There's sensors, there's a user interface. So if you were going to use like a button, you wanted a button in your app, you would just pull out from the palette and drop it into your viewer. This viewer here is what your app is going to look like. It's the user interface, what the user sees and interacts with. Alrighty, so I've told you about the palette. That palette has different drawers with different types of components. And I've told you about the viewer. Now we're going to talk about the components panel over here. The components panel has a list of everything that you have in that app. So we're not going to make more than one screen today, but you can see that my screen 1 has one button on it. If my screen had a button and an image, you would see them both in this list. Okay, so this is a list of everything you have put into your app, all the components. If you had let's say you had a horizontal arrangement, and what a horizontal arrangement does is it allows you to put things side by side, arrange things side by side. But do you see how horizontal arrangement's here? When I click on it, it is outlined in green. And you can see inside it, there is the button and image 1. I don't know if you've been noticing, but when I click on these different components, this properties panel changes. So when I'm clicked on image 1, the properties for image 1 show up over here. When I click on button 1, the properties for button 1 show up over here. Properties are like describers. So they're information about button 1. Right here you see button 1 has a default background color, which is like a light gray for the buttons. If I wanted to change that, let's say I wanted my background color for my button to be cyan, I would change the background color property. If I wanted my text, my font size to be bigger, I would change the font size property. If I wanted to change what the text property said, I could say change the text property. And you can see those changes over here in the viewer. Now, if I have closed this down, you can't see what's in there, but you can open up that. Now, we're going to talk more about those in the next app that I show you here, but I just wanted to show you these different parts. The palette, the viewer, the components panel. Down here, if I put pictures or sound files in or videos in my app, they would be down here. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about the properties. If we go to the blocks viewer, this is the blocks editor or blocks viewer, where you create the app's behavior, how it acts, what it does. Not what it looks like, what it does. So if I wanted to program something about button 1 that I put in there, I would open the button 1 drawer. So this would be when button 1 clicked, do something. Okay, so This is where you create the app's behavior or functionality. This is where you create what the app looks like, what it has inside it. Alrighty, we're going to go on, and you can read a little bit more about the palette, the viewer, the components, the properties here. Now, let's go back to our assignment. There is a Google document worksheet. So if you click on that, you're going to make a copy. And then probably the first thing you should do after you make the copy is change the name, because you don't want copy of template. You're going to want your first initial, your last name. And then you're going to want to change it. Right now it's just in your drive. It's not in a folder. So using this little move, the picture of the folder, you can click on it and move it to your FrogTech or BearTech folders. Then you can find it easily when you want to turn it in. You can see there are some questions right here off the bat. After you watch the video, you're going to answer a question about what are some other technological advancements you can think of. Some of the things we talked about in class today were how far advanced farming technology has gotten. Some people said an oven is technology. It is. And there's a lot of things in medicine that have really advanced the way that we live and have changed our world. And you're going to talk about whatever you answer here, you're going to explain how that has changed people's lives down here. There's no wrong answer here as long as your answer makes sense. All right, then we're into Explore App Inventor. So we've already logged into MIT App Inventor. We've already gone to create apps, and we should have already logged in. Here, remember those things I just showed you? The palette, the viewer, the components panel. You're going to answer questions about them there. You're just going to explain each one. You heard me explain them just now, but you also have in the Project Lead the Way book these little information tags that can pop up and help you answer that in the worksheet. All right, I'm going to scoot this over here. I don't need that tab or that tab. Okay. So that's step 2 is answering stuff about the palette, that view. Step 3 is answering information about the blocks viewer or blocks drawers. And this, in the book, there's not really one of these but pictures that has this. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more, even though I just explained it. But this is where the blocks editor or blocks viewer is where you drag out the programming blocks and create the functionality or behavior of your app, what your app does. You're programming right here. These are the block drawers. So these built-in drawers have specific types, a control type, a logic type, math. So there's all these different things. You will also find down here under the built-in, which I can close right there, this is all of the app-specific drawers. Things that I have put into our app, you can go ahead and program or open this button 1 drawer. Then I get a bunch of blocks about button 1. Or if I open the image 1 drawer, I get a bunch of blocks that will help me program stuff about the image. Okay, so that should help you answer. Step 3. After step 3, it says go to PLTW and download the 1.1 Mystery AIA file. So in 1.1, we may have already been down here somewhere, but we're going to scroll up to resources. Make sure you're in activity 1.1. And there is the mystery app. I am going to notice that it's a .aia file. Okay, App Inventor application file. You're going to click on that to download. If you accidentally double click and you get more than one, I'll show you what to do about that. If you accidentally try to open it, you might get an error message. This file does not have an app associated with it. That's because the only thing that can open an AIA app or file is MIT App Inventor. Your computer cannot open one of those files, okay? So I'm going to go back to MIT App Inventor, and I'm going to go to Projects, Import Project, AIA from my computer. I'm going to choose the file, and you'll see, remember I clicked it too many times. If you get one of these, if that happens to you, it's okay. Make sure you get the one that does not have a parenthesis in it. Parentheses are not allowed in AIA file names, okay? So get the one without a parenthesis and open. The file name will show up here and push OK. This is the mystery app. Now, looks a little bit different. There are some things already in our app you can tell by the components list. There's a vertical arrangement. When I click on the vertical arrangement, there is a green line around it. Inside that vertical arrangement, see how it's indented? There's a horizontal arrangement right there. You can see the line around it. Inside that horizontal arrangement, there is a text box here and a button here. Remember the properties. So if I click on button 1, I can change the properties for it. Let's say I wanted it to be magenta. Let's say I wanted the words to be bigger. 20 for font size. There is a shape. Let's say oval. So you can change the properties. This text box, I could even change the properties for that. Let's say I wanted no background color. Maybe I wanted it to be yellow. Okay. All right. So some more experience here with the components and the properties. You should have stopped and gotten this information or this app into MIT App Inventor. So stop and rewind a little, where you go back and you download, and then you come in here and you go Projects and Import Project from my computer. I want you to make sure to do that because you're going to answer some questions about this app now. So you need it on your computer. When you have that done, you can continue back, come back to the video, and you're going to answer some questions like, how many buttons are in the designer view? What do you think the horizontal and vertical arrangement components are used for in this particular design? What do you think the text-to-speech component is and why it is displayed below the app screen in the viewer? So, because you have this app in your MIT App Inventor on your computer, you can go answer these things. How many buttons are there? Look at your list here. What do you think the vertical arrangement and the horizontal arrangements accomplish in this design? What do you think the text-to-speech, see here it is, and it said, why is it below the viewer? There's a hint right here, by the way. Okay, so that's going to help you answer the questions in part 6. Then in part 7, you're going to switch to the blocks editor. So you're going to, in App Inventor, you're going to go to the blocks viewer, and you're going to answer some more buttons. So these blocks, if you were here at Summit, or even if you were at other schools and you've used Scratch, or if you've done programmed the microbits, you know a little bit about code blocks, and they're kind of like reading English, but you just have to tease out the information. So like this one right here, when button 1 click. Well, that means when the button 1, that's the button that's called button 1 is clicked, do something. Okay, so you're going to try to guess what these, not guess, but figure out what these mean. The questions are, can you guess what button 1 and button 2 do? Can you guess what checkbox 1 and checkbox 2 do? Now, in class, we have iPads, and we have an app on there called AI Companion, where we can actually put this app from here on the iPad. It does need the app, I think it's AI2 Companion or AI Companion 2. So if you have an iPad or a phone or a Google phone, you might be able to do this at home if you look for those apps. If you do, after you got the AI Companion app on your tablet or phone, you would go here and you would use that app to scan this. I will teach you more about that in class. So that might be for something you can do at home. It might not, okay? So just guess what these do without running it on a tablet if you need to. And maybe you can. It's kind of like reading English. It's like reading, but you got to kind of tease it out. So what do you think happens if checkbox 1 is changed? If it's checked, something's going to change to red maybe. So kind of try to answer those questions in 7. And then we have some conclusion questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So you're going to be creating your own app at the end of this class. So think of what you might want to do, okay? All right, so there is your 22-minute walkthrough of what we did in class today. If you get this done, you're a little bit ahead of what we finished in class. We probably need some time to finish up 7 and the conclusion questions when you get to class. So if you just get through number 6, you will be caught up. I hope everybody's doing well and staying healthy, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.